Chapter 4 discusses parent and teacher and principal school engagement amongst each other. I chose this chapter because I actually want to learn more ways to communicate with parents other than just when their child is missing school, missing class, or failing the class. I want to create positive ways to interact with the parents. So, the beginning of chapter 4 discusses that newsletters, bulletin boards, and such are great ways to communicate information, but that it could also be limited because parents may feel that they don't have a voice in expressing the information that they are receiving, or they may feel as though they're receiving the information late and don't have a say so in what's being presented. Noster argues that if parents are allowed to be on retreats and amongst other staff at outside events, that would allow time and opportunity for the parents to discuss why certain things were in place and why others were favored over the other decisions. So, with that being said, I do not agree with Noster in that sense because when I read the paragraph discussing parents being on the retreat with parents, my first thought was if this is a staff retreat for the staff to bond, then why are we bringing in parents to volunteer and organize? I feel like that is an invasion of privacy, and therefore it should stay separate. Now, could we have a parent night where parents can come and it's actually organized for that? Absolutely. But I don't feel like we should have something that is supposed to be fun and then in between that we're discussing work issues, policies, and procedures off the clock. Chapter 4 also suggests that parents should be encouraged to ask their students or their child, what they learned in school. This gave me the idea of possibly creating newsletters, hoping that they do go out to parents. I could also send them through email as well as by paper. But hopefully, because it's not like a report card or a progress report, the student is more prone to giving the information to their parent, just saying, hey, my teacher said this is what we're doing, and I could possibly make it a test grade. I know my teachers also did that when I was in school, and it would prompt me to really get whatever I needed signed. So that may be something that I do so that the parents are aware of what we're going over each 9 weeks. Therefore, they're able to ask them, hey, your teacher said the child is going to be learning about numbers, counting in Spanish, 0 to 1,000. Let me hear what you got. Let me see what you learned. She said the first 9 weeks you're going to be going over your colors, your this and your that. Let me see what you've learned. So this way, the student knows that their parent is checking in, is aware, has communication with the teacher, and that curriculum aspect is covered because the parent knows exactly what's being taught every 9 weeks and they can hold their child accountable. So I definitely agree with the idea of sending newsletters, making them aware of the curriculum, and encouraging the parents to just have common basic conversations about what the child is learning in school. This is the face of concernness. 21% as of 2024, 21% of adults in the United States are illiterate. 54% of adults have literacy below a 6th grade level. 54% of adults read below. 54, half of the adults in the United States, more than half, read below a 6th grade level. And that is a reason why we need to do robocalls as opposed to letters or bulletins. so that they can communicate verbally as opposed to reading, amongst others who may not even be exposed to the English language, because we're at schools are not sending out letters in multiple languages. We're not sending them out in 5 different languages, um, unless the message is really short and sweet and we're able to put multiple languages on the same sheet and on the back side. With that being said, um, I'll be back with a way to communicate with parents. The most valuable thing that chapter 4 taught me is to not be afraid to apologize, not be afraid to ask for help when it comes to communicating with our families, and just essentially being humble and having the initiative to want to help and to want to reach our families.